up in the morning, he would say, I'm going to create a universe. I'm going to be God today.
Welcome, everyone, to another GoD Presents The Book of Black. But this week, once again, it is blacker than ever, but not having PJ Black. It is another episode of the Gospel of Thomas. What is up, Mr. Thomas?
What's up, my guy? I'm here and we're on a lovely, well, I won't say what day of the week is this because it may not go out into production until a couple days from now, but it's a case of the Mondays. I lied. I took it back. This is going to be the best part of my day. I've been furious up to this point, so woosah. Let's have a good one. Our last week was a good one. I listened to it back in the car and I've gotten good feedback and response. I hope you got the same.
Yeah, no, AJ was terrific. But our guest today is this is Syren, and she was a professional wrestler for 21 years. She is now listing herself as retired, but we all know how that goes in professional wrestling. And she does some other things too. So Syren, thank you so much for being our guest. You're actually our first female wrestling guest on the Book of Black.
Maybe first and last. I hope not.
Yeah, we've had.
I'm sure there will be many to come.
Well, I hope so too. We were supposed to have a few. I probably shouldn't say any names, so to not jinx it and cause any problems. It just didn't work out for a variety of different reasons. And at some point, I am still assured, as recently as today, that Lufisto will in fact be joining us, or at least me. But once you podcast with me, it becomes like an addiction. So in any event. So, Syren, tell the folks a little bit more about yourself. You can use your real name. You can do whatever you like, but I use your work name just to protect the innocent.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So my real name is Amanda, and I had applied to go to college, but it was only a 2-year program, so my financial aid was refused. My parents didn't have money to send me to college, so I was going to wrestling shows in Georgetown, Kentucky. And one night the announcer came out and said, "Do you want to be a pro wrestler? Call the hotline." And I thought, well, what else am I going to do at this point? So I called the hotline and started making payments. And well, it was not that easy. I waited about 3 months for a call back. And later on, I found out they did not want to train a girl. So after
Kentucky.
Yeah. After about 3 months, they called me back. And I think really at that point, it was more about the money. Like they wanted my money. So because no one else was training. So I was like their only trainer. So it was bringing in money. So my first few weeks, they were really rough on me. You know, I had a concussion my first week. They just were throwing me on my head, not teaching me anything. And finally, my 4th week, I think they realized I was just not going to give up. So they were going to have to train me.
Okay. Do you want to say who the trainers were or the school was?
It was Mountain Wrestling Association in Georgetown, Kentucky. My trainer was Chris Hayes from WCW. It was...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It was his guys, that he had training me.
Is there any truth to the fact that you beat Ricochet many times easily?
Ricochet?
Mm-hmm. He's from Kentucky.
I don't know Ricochet.
Yeah, no, Ricochet.
You know who Ricochet is, or you never met Ricochet? Let's get to the bottom of this right now.
I don't think I know Ricochet.
Oh, interesting.
All right,
all right, guys, that's all for today.
But I didn't wrestle in Kentucky very long.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll just tell you who Ricochet is real quick. Ricochet was an independent wrestler who probably made his fame doing Spider-Man matches with Will Ospreay. He was Prince Puma on Lucha Underground, which was wonderful. Got recruited.
Okay.
He was on NXT for a few years. We had a fair amount of success. Elevated to the WWE main roster, where he had, sort of some success, some not so success. Interesting relationship with the fans. Got engaged to the ring announcer. And he recently joined with AEW. So that's Ricochet. The only reason.
Okay. Yes, we did do a show together in Chicago once, I believe, but that was it.
There we go.
Yeah.
See, I knew I'd get that. All right.
But that was all.
Well, let's continue the Song of Syren.
So I trained probably about a year, and they decided to shut down in Georgetown and move to Mount Sterling, Kentucky. So in that time, I started traveling with Jillian Hall. So we were on this rotation of Columbus, Indiana, Cleveland, Ohio, New York City. Gosh, I was going to like Atlanta, all over Tennessee. So when they reopened in Mount Sterling, I went to Chris and told him, I was like, hey, I can be here this Saturday, but I can't be here this Saturday and this Saturday. And he said, well, if you can't be here every Saturday, I can't use you because I need you here to walk out with the guys.
Oh,
They wouldn't bring in women for me to work. They just wanted me as a manager.
valet,
So,
a
so
ring
I
girl.
left. Yeah, I left. I said, then I'm gone. So a lot of the guys in Kentucky started calling me superstar because I left and I lost a lot of friends. But that kind of boosted me. I ended up joining Glory Wrestling with all the girls, which you mentioned Lufisto before. She was a Glory girl. So that was out of New Jersey. And there were a bunch of us. And then
I'm going to use
I was
your name
traveling.
to lure her here again.
Lufisto.
That's right. No, I'm going to use yours. I'm going to say, hey, Amanda Syren's a friend. She can come on the show with you. You'll be
Yeah,
comfortable.
definitely. I'm a talker though. Like
Well, it's a
that's what I love doing
podcast.
podcasts. Yeah.
It's a podcast, so we need talkers. It's good.
Yeah. So I was traveling with Jillian Hall. And of course, she ends up going to OVW and WWE. So when she went to OVW, I started traveling with Malaya Hosaka. And I was going to Florida all the time. So I was in like Atlantic City, New York City, and Panama City all within the same week.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was a lot. And then we ended up going to Alaska with the World Wrestling Association and wrestling for the Air Force on the Air Force bases. So that was a lot of fun. And we got to travel with like Honky Tonk Man and some of the older guys.
The best worker in the business.
Yeah.
The best, worst worker in the business. I mean,
My favorite carny of all time. Back off.
Absolutely. No, I agree.
Protect him to the end of time.
He's a great person. I think a lot of them. I run into him once in a while at like a state fair or convention or something. So he's a super guy.
My opinion is so jaded by Ric Flair, who, in his later years has become less and less interesting to me. But he used to say, Honky Tonk Man couldn't worth shit. So that's what influenced me, just because, Ric Flair was always my favorite. But Mr. Thomas is now my favorite. So I go with him.
Redemption. Equal amount of worker as Honky Tonk Man is. Not as much of a carny, though.
You still have time.
So, Miss Syren, what do you do in real life? What do you do for money? Because if you're a professional wrestler, it means you have to have a real job. So, what does your real life look like? Jeff loves the wrestling side of the world. I love the real life side of the world. I'm curious what you do for a living. What's your family life like? Tell us things as much as you're comfortable sharing on a platform such as this.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty open. I'm actually a licensed optician. So, right after our trip to Alaska, I found out I was pregnant.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that was pretty much the end of my wrestling career. So, yeah, I was supposed to head to California with New Jack, and we were talking to MTV about a show. So my first call when I found out I was pregnant was to New Jack. It was like, hey, man, I'm not going to be able to head out to California with you because I'm pregnant.
Wait, New Jack is the father of your child?
That would have been a better reality.
That would have been a better story. For us.
New Jack is not the father of my child.
Okay. All right. Well, I thought we were going to break some news here, but okay.
No.
All right. So,
sorry.
So what was the show that you and New Jack were going to do? Well, I mean, were you going to pretend to be husband and wife? Was it going to just be that you were, a male wrestler and a female wrestler traveling the roads together? I mean, what was the premise?
I can't really remember. It was around the time that Tough Enough was starting. So
yeah,
I don't think
that's like over 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm old, Jeff.
Well, we're all old here, and by the way, I'm the oldest. So yesterday I was interviewing a gentleman about he's writing books based Arthurian legend books. Anyway, he goes, "I'm old. I was born in 1969." I'm like, "I'm a year older. Shut up." So
Oh gosh.
I know.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm a licensed optician, so once
Did
I
you
was a
ever
stay-at-home,
offer to cure John Cena?
right?
Or,
I can make you see John Cena.
that is very talented. That is
There you
really
go.
good. Okay. Now, I don't really care that much what you do for real life living because I happen to know in real life you're a witch
Yes.
and you have a show about being a witch. So, like, how do you get into witchcraft? Are you Wiccan? Are you, because I know,
There we go.
all Wiccans are witches, but not all witches are Wiccan. So was it? See, you look perfectly lovely, Thomas. Look at the
You.
woman.
Oh, she was zoned in the whole time. I don't know why she had the screen off. I know we were
Okay.
an audio medium, so no one else can see this. But look at this. She's living the life over here. Love
Her
that.
hair's
Good
better
background
than
and
my
everything.
hair.
I know I had a mohawk and then I let it grow back out. Like, so
Probably the
it's
right
still
choice.
weird.
All right, sorry. So how do you get on the path to the Sacred Mother?
Whew, that's yeah. So I'm also an ordained minister.
I do know that.
So there's a fine line between my beliefs. And I think no matter if you're Christian, Baptist, Muslim, whatever you are, no one believes the exact same thing. You all have your interpretation of those beliefs. So I think my husband says it best because he said, you can read cards and you can make things happen with spells, but God gave you that gift.
Do you ever call your husband New Jack just by accident?
No. He looks nothing like New Jack. His head doesn't look like meatloaf.
Confirmed does not look like New Jack.
Thomas is researching.
I did research on
My
that.
husband is a death metal singer.
Anything we would know?
His band is Created to Kill.
Cheap plug right there for free.
There
Look
you
it up,
go.
you metalheads.
We actually have a new band starting. I play banjo, and we're going to throw in some banjo with some death metal, and it's going to be like some hillbilly death metal. The band is going to be called Squatch.
This sounds like a talent show in the month of October in Salem, Massachusetts to me, but hey.
That's our next vacation is Halloween in Salem.
As it should be.
That's fantastic. Banjo death metal. I actually like the way you described it better than your band's name. I think that should be the band's name. That was a terrific name. But yeah, you know what? I think Lufisto's husband is in a death metal band or thrash metal band.
Oh yeah,
so something
maybe
like that.
I'll see her.
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh.
So that'd be very cool. All right, listen, I'm going to let Thomas do some talking because A, he's more interesting than me. B, I mean, he's also been in wrestling for like a couple decades, maybe more, and like you must have crossed paths at some point and have some sort of like crazy highway and byway story.
Too far south for me. I was more of a Northeast guy. Ricochet and the Kentucky Gentleman, Chuck Taylor was as like far south as I get, but that even before that was still before my time. I'm more curious about how the witchcraft has been utilized in not only your real life, but the wrestling world. I feel like at some point you've had to at least put a curse on one of these shitty promoters along the way.
If I had been into witchcraft back then, I probably would have, but it didn't really overlap. I didn't realize like I could make things happen. So
give me an example. What's the last thing you made happen?
And
what was the first thing you made happen? Let's do both of those.
I remember the first thing for sure because I had applied for about 200 jobs. Because like I said, I was a stay-at-home mom for 8 years, and you can't get a job unless you have a job. So I had applied for about 200 jobs, and I finally found a spell on how to help me get a job, and I had a job the next week.
How about that?
Yeah. So that was the very first thing. I can't really remember the last thing.
You trapped an entire...
And was this, you came across all this witchery after you met your husband? How's this affect the relationship? Tell me something on how the witchcraft has affected your personal life at home. We're in the bedroom. I'm not asking for dirty stories. I feel like at least on a car trip, changing the radio, something that's come across.
So I'm actually married to my third husband right now. So it was before I married him. Yeah, I can't put up with anybody very long. So we'll see if I make it at least 10 years this time.
Are the first two still human, or have you turned them into frogs?
That was my
No,
next question. Thank you,
they're
Jeff.
still okay. They're still okay.
Okay.
So it was after my first husband and right before I divorced my second husband when I got into witchcraft. So yeah.
Is
But
that a cause and effect thing, or is it just a correlation? Don't read too much into it.
No, it was mainly because I couldn't find a job. I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get anyone to hire me. And
We can't rely on these men to support us, Jeff.
No.
No man's ever so that's not true. My father. What the hell am I talking about? For a long time, including some parts of my adulthood. Shut up, Jeff. Including some parts of my middle age.
A couple lighthearted questions before we go too deep. Can you give me a short answer on how crystals work? I, much like most guys out there, have dated many of the yoga girls, many of the crystal girls, many of the goth girls. Some of these girls are all the same girl, the plant girl. Tell me about crystals, not only how they work, how I know they work, what's the going rate on a crystal these days, and why do we need so many of them?
It depends on the size of the crystal as the going rate matters. Because, of course, size matters in that price because you can get into the thousands if the crystal is big enough. But then you get like little ones. I have a little skull crystal that was like $15, and they help in a lot of ways: health, money, protection, and it depends on the crystal as to what it does. I don't get into crystals a whole lot.
That's good and bad, because one of the women who was supposed to be on and wasn't, but might be, I have a feeling that we dropped the ball on is Mark Haskins' wife. Mark Haskins from Ring of Honor, and he's in Progress, and he's in England. And his wife, also a wrestler in England, was going to talk to us about crystals. My understanding is that different crystals have different properties that can be applied to, different issues. Like some are for health, some are for prosperity, some are for, I don't know if clairvoyance is the right word, or empathy, or
yes.
Good sense. Fortune. Yeah, but I do know that crystals actually are repositories for energy. Like quartz, I know holds energy, which is why they power watches.
Right. I have just a little bag I carry that has every type of crystal in it. So
you keep that thing on you at all times?
A lot of times, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Tell me one thing. I have a question. Have you ever put a love spell on someone? Is this how you got your third or possibly fourth husband? Are you a love spell kind of gal? Do you believe in the love spell? What would I have to do to be put under a love spell in general?
Yeah, are you doing one right now? And don't do it to me, because my wife is Latina and she'll kill us both.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And Thomas, just to make sure.
I do believe in the love spell, but the way I see it, like I want love to be natural. I don't want someone to love me because I put a spell on them. That's something that should be natural. So
I don't want someone to love me because I pay their bills or buy dinner either, but that's not the world
Thomas.
Men live in. Damn it. With that being said, I'm going to digress. So do you consider putting a hex on someone mental abuse? I do, for the record. I know there's a moment of silence there, but I feel like it's an abuse of power.
There's different circumstances. It depends on if it's going to mess with them mentally. Like, it depends on the situation.
Okay,
tell me a positive situation.
Okay, so I needed to get someone away from me once. So I used it in that way to get this person away from me who was doing bad.
It worked better than a restraining order?
Right.
I believe that, because civil restraining orders almost always fail. At some point down the line, they almost always.
It depends on what you do with it. Yeah.
That
was a good thing for both of us.
I've been told by, listen, you're not the first witch I've spoken to. I've spoken to many witches of many different disciplines, but one thing they universally tell me is that your intent matters. That there's no actual such thing as white magic or black magic or light magic or dark. It's your intent. Your intent makes it good or bad magic. And the bad magic, be careful, because even though it's not the right use of karma, it will take something out of you. It will come back and hurt you in some way, either through a
Tenfold.
third party or
Yeah.
internally itself. So I imagine that you'd have to be real careful. So something where you want to keep someone away from you, I imagine you'd have to focus to make sure it's a protective spell as opposed to an offensive. It's like your offensive line. You're not having your defensive ends, rushing the quarterback,
Right.
magically,
Yeah.
metaphorically speaking.
Right. Definitely. So it just depends on, like you said, your intent and how you use it. Yeah.
How do you study? How do you study? I mean, we know you went to a wrestling school to learn how to wrestle, and they abused you for a while. I mean, is like, do you like, what do you Google local Wiccan or local coven, and do they abuse you? Is there hazing in witchcraft, or is it more, like a fraternity or a football
It's
team?
very much like a solo experience, doesn't it? It's kind of like you're on your own, no?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah. I was totally solo for a long time. I had a friend who I went to and I was like, "Hey, do you have a spell to help me get a job?" Because I was at her house and I went home, and I'm more comfortable sometimes texting things than saying it out loud in person. So I texted her and I was like, "Do you have spell books? Are you into that kind of thing?" And she was like, "You were just in my house. You saw it." And I was like, "I thought you might be." So,
Wow.
and I was like, I need a little help. And, she was there for me and everything. But I've never actually joined a coven. I just have friends, like Shay, who does Two Broke Witches with me. She's a psychic medium.
Hmm.
So she's a good friend of mine. And I was always around Scarefest here in Kentucky. And they have metaphysical fairs on the weekends. And I would go to those. And, you make a lot of connections, just like in wrestling. You meet other wrestlers and you get on
Yeah,
shows after you
networking,
make
baby networking
friends.
up the
Yeah.
chain. Find the people that work and match well with you. I understand
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess that comes with any hobby.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
as entrenched as you choose to be. Yeah, I just this is very fascinating to me. I mean, this is only my second episode hosting here. It's not every day or every week you come across a witch, which I didn't even know we were interviewing till about 2 hours ago. Thank you for filling in. I
Right.
appreciate that. So I didn't even have a chance to be thrown off guard. So if you catch me asking any dumb questions, it's just this is all shock to me.
Well, there are no dumb questions, and I don't know that many people, actually have knowingly spoken to a witch, or at least if they were asked those questions. But okay, so this was between husband two and husband three, and husband three is a death metal, star, so maybe he's already acclimated to that thing. But we shouldn't assume anything. How do you broach that subject where at some point he's like, "Hey, nice mohawk," and you're like, "Hmm. I love your Arapagio," or whatever you call the things, and then you're like, like at what date, is it Cheesecake Factory? Is it Ruth Chris? Is it the romantic picnic at the, Stony Hill Park or whatever? Like, at what point do you say, by the way, you should probably know I'm a witch, and the Mother Gaia is my, supreme power, but I'm also an ordained minister in the, whatever Wesleyan Methodist Church or whatever, I don't know what denomination. And I can sort of I can thread that needle for me, but I'm not sure that I can thread it for you. Like, how do you broach these subjects, and when do you broach these subjects that leads to a marriage?
So I actually just got ordained like a little over a year ago. My mother-in-law was getting ready to marry her wife. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, what if they can't find a preacher around here in Kentucky to marry them?" And I was like, no one should ever have to worry about that. I'm getting ordained. Like, I'm getting ordained. And if anyone ever needs to get married, I'm here because everyone deserves to be happy. So that's what led to that. And it helps that I've been friends with my husband since we were 14 and we have a lot in common.
Okay. All right. So how did you broach
So
the witch thing?
So he already knew a lot about me. I was actually reading oracle cards for him before we even started talking about a relationship.
This is what I mean by using, good for evil and intent and all these words that we're talking about. This is exactly how I would do my witchery.
Yeah.
What are
So
oracle
he went through a
cards?
really hard, it's like tarot, but they're bigger and there's fewer of them.
So
So he went through a really bad divorce, and I was kind of reading for him after his divorce and everything.
That's romantic. So I'm a little obsessed now with this oracle card versus tarot card, because I know a bit about tarot cards. I mean, I know that there's the houses and it really depends on the directionality of the cards, but not all readers care about whether it's upside down or right side up, but there's definitely an order to things. What, and that basically it sort of follows the zodiac and the four cardinal directions. What are the major distinctions between oracle cards, other than they're bigger in size, I guess, and that there's fewer of them? Is it like on the solar calendar, not the lunar? I mean, what's happening here?
No. So oracle cards. So I've had 5 concussions. I am not able to remember all the meanings of all the tarot cards.
Well, Thomas is wearing a shirt that says Concussion Legacies Foundation.
Yes.
So perhaps you two should connect afterwards, and maybe
there you go.
We should not be connecting on CTE. But while we're on the topic, I think we all, if anyone who's a wrestling fan knows Chris Nowinski, this is Chris Nowinski's company that I am wearing on my shirt. Concussion Legacy Research just goes to research in CTE, the effects of CTE, how to prevent CTE. I don't normally bring this up, but I'm donating my brain once I move on to the other side to Chris Nowinski, and for any research purposes to hopefully help and not only prevent, there's never going to prevent concussions, but help find a solution for the short-term, long-term effects of concussions and find a solution for CTE. Hopefully it won't be in my lifetime, but maybe time after that. But check them out. Not affiliated with, not being paid for, but I did get a t-shirt and a mug that I paid for to donate, much like my brain, to science. So I can relate to you a lot on the CTE front, but it's not a flag I wear often. I just happen to have the shirt on today.
Nice. I need to donate my brain to them then, because I'm donating everything I can when I die. So
I won't need it.
That's fantastic, right?
And if one of your witch friends decides they know how to bring people back, let me lie. Let me lie. Don't bring me back. Don't revive me. Don't pawn my parts off on anybody else.
Yeah. Brainless zombie Thomas. At that point, you have you have no brain and a 6'5" mocha traps. No,
after so many concussions, you feel kind of brainless anyway.
It has its days. But
yeah,
I'm up there. Five's rookie numbers, but we can get up there.
I mean, I can be my own coaster. I turn my head like this, and I can set my drink on my head right here.
And I apologize for digressing. We were on the cards. The topic is the cards. Is it all in the branding?
Yes. So oracle cards, a big reason I like oracle cards is because I found a set that really spoke to me. And that I have really good luck reading cards with this deck that I have. But yeah, it's also a lot easier to remember what the cards mean because there's a lot fewer of them. I mean, tarot gets so in depth, and I like the meanings behind the oracle cards. I think they're prettier. Just several reasons I like oracle cards instead of tarot.
Yeah, I've done a few shows on tarot cards, including one with the person who did the art for the Enochian tarot card. So I actually have a set of Enochian tarot cards. But if you want to find out what that is, find that show on the regular Garden Do Prime, but the same feed you're listening to right now. Who are the top 5 or top 3 or whatever? It can be the number. Who's the most famous person that you've ever wrestled? Like the person who made it to the highest heights that people might know, and people who are listening to the show probably, have a pretty deep bench of knowledge with wrestling.
Well, like I said, I traveled and wrestled Jillian Hall and Malaya Hosaka. Trying to think. Amber O'Neill.
Hmm. You ever cross paths with Mitzi Sampson when you were out in New Jersey?
No, never
No?
did.
She
But
was
I think she was a Glory girl, so we probably did Glory shows together
Yeah.
in New Jersey.
that checks out.
You doing
But there were
CZW
so
in
many of
Jersey?
us. Was that?
CZW, Combat Zone Wrestling, when you were in Jersey?
No, I never went to that.
Okay, well, it would fit in with the concussion part.
Yeah. That was thanks, Cameron Starr. Yeah. That was
Okay.
that was a match down in Tennessee that my main concussion was. She went to suplex me and we kind of lost our balance and I went right down on my head. I don't remember driving home from Nashville that night, but I woke up in my bed.
Well, I guess there's a bright line, a happy ending to that story, sort of.
Yeah.
That you did wake up in your bed.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's very, very many H.P. Lovecraft stories end with the protagonist fainting and somehow waking up, in the care of home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I
so
was on shows with like Ricky Morton,
Hell
Marty
yeah, those good old
Jannetty.
South shows.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love them. Jerry the King Lawler. I did a show with
Always.
him.
If it was at a flea market, Jerry was there.
Yeah. Yeah. Ricky Morton too. Ricky Morton hangs out at the flea market in Sevierville, Tennessee.
That's where the money's at, brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ricky Morton is the nicest wrestler I've ever met in person.
Oh gosh. So when I first met Ricky, I didn't know it was so I never watched wrestling. I didn't grow up with wrestling. I had no idea wrestling even existed in my house. My parents are a lot older and my siblings were 16, 20 and 22 years older than me. So it was just never a thing in our house. So I go to this show in Tennessee and this man comes and he's like, "Hey, how are you doing? The locker room is back this way." And he's wearing a purple suit. And I'm like, "Oh, this must be like the janitor of the school or something. He's dressed up for the wrestling show." And he showed me where the locker room was. And he was like, "You can get ready and come back out." And I was like, "Okay." So I get ready and come out with my pictures, to sell. And I'm walking along. I'm like, "Where should I put my pictures?" And he goes, "Sit them here next to mine. They'll sell like hotcakes." And I looked down. I was like, "That's Ricky Morton."
That'll do it.
So yeah, he was so nice. He was showing me around where to go and everything. Just the nicest guy you'll ever meet.
No, he's great. I will tell you my true story about Ricky Morton, and forgive everyone out there who thinks I'm an AEW hater, which I sort of am. But I was at Starcast 19. I didn't pay. I was free labor for one of the vendors. So we were there at the beginning, whatever. So Starcast 19, the fall version, the first Starcast I believe was pretty successful, but Starcast in the fall for Full Gear, not so much, not a success on day one, and day two was worse. So I'm not sure if Ricky was just bored or if he felt bad for the vendors, because he came over to our section, which was just so that people know, it was at like a rock band, like a big bar that had like a balcony with almost like a U-level raised deck, and then downstairs was a stage level. So they were doing like stage show stuff, but all the vendors were on the second floor, and then the wrestlers. So if I was on the right side where the vendors were, on the horizontal side, and then the left side of the U, that's where the wrestlers were. And Ricky Morton was all the way on the far side. He was back. That's where Chris Jericho was. That's where SCU was. Sean Spears, whatever. That's where they put Hangman Page. Ironically, their biggest star, MJF, was actually close to us, but not ironically, he showed up late, and Sammy Guevara stayed late to cover his shift, which, I whatever I've ever said about Sammy Guevara, he came early, he stayed late, and he talked to every single person that they wanted to talk to him. So I will give him that. It was 5 years ago. I don't know if he'd still do. Anyway, so Ricky Morton comes over, sits down next to us, and goes, "You mind if I sit here?" It's like, "No, you're Ricky Morton." Shakes everybody's hand, starts talking, and it's like, I think he's just being polite and nice. And he stayed there for 40 minutes, chatting the whole time, talking, listening, asking questions, listening, really paying attention. I mean, I mean, Robert Gibson came over and winked, that's, but Ricky Moore was, stayed. And then, I mean, that he didn't have to do that. That was a real mensch thing to do. I mean,
Yeah.
we're just the sorry vendors, basically every vendor's selling the same goddamn thing anyway, just their version of copyright infringement.
Oh gosh. The hardest thing was not marking out when you met some of your favorite people, you know? Have you come across that, Thomas?
Oh my God, all the time. I've been in
Yes.
a room with the most famous people ever, and I'm like, oh, how am I not supposed to fanboy right now?
I know. The hardest one for me was Gangrel. I loved the Brood. Like my first wrestling shirt was the Brood. Edge was the reason I started watching wrestling in the first place, when he would slide in with his long coat on and Gangrel would spit the blood out everywhere. So when I met Gangrel, I was like, hey, how are you doing? And I'm like dying inside.
He's a good dude. He did a few MLW shows last year. He's a good dude for us. But yeah, it'd be like that sometimes. Don't meet your heroes, people, because not everyone's good. I have mostly positive experience, but every once in a while, you'll meet a CM Punk and I'll be a fucking asshole. So.
Oh gosh,
Really?
yeah.
Okay, I don't have a direct story about CM Punk.
Punk.
I have an indirect story about CM Punk. My son, who lives in Orlando, worked with, maybe for, I'm not exactly sure, maybe still does, with CFFC, the local UFC promotion. And apparently CM Punk did some commentary for him.
Yeah.
And he said that he was nice. So he'd see him and he'd recognize him and go, hey, Jake, and he's like, CM Punk just said hi to me, so he's at least cordial in the professional settings. Obviously there's as many different opinions about CM Punk as there are people, especially over the last couple of years. So we won't get into that. Oh my God. I want to ask Thomas, only a good story. Who was like your biggest fanboy moment that was a positive experience? I'm not gonna
I had a little back-to-back, and I feel like I've met everyone in the history of wrestling with the exception of Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I was backstage. It was one of the Royal Rumbles, whenever Nakamura won. I don't know, whatever year that was. But for some reason, in the Royal Rumble in Philadelphia, I was out back, and like Ric Flair was standing next to the Undertaker. At this point, I haven't met either of those humans, professionally or personally, and I just happened to be. I just did the old like I was waiting for this conversation to be over, and then one of them would have to accidentally walk my direction, which is exactly what happened. And they were both two of the nicest guys who gave me probably 3 minutes way too long than I deserved. It was an excellent experience, and back to back, because it was like one moment ended and I turned around and Ric Flair was right there, and Ric Flair's always been awesome to me. I see him out in Tampa every once in a while, but yeah, two good things. One day, a great day.
That was great. That is awesome, man. Two I mean, probably in everybody's top 10, at least of legends. I mean,
and also the first time I met Vince McMahon, he insisted that I call him Vince. I did not. No, I will not call the billionaire owner of this company by his first name. Because I addressed him as Mr. McMahon, as you would address your senior of all things professional. But
yeah, I would be terrified to call him anything else.
No.
Maybe
sir. I never wanted to go to WWE, but that's like back when I was wrestling, women were doing the pillow fights and wearing bikinis, and I was like, no, I'm a wrestler. I'm not doing this.
It's easier time. Now all that it's crazy because that's all that was on TV, but all the girls everywhere else were still wrestling for real. So
yeah, I was like, I'm not going to WWE and wearing bra and panties and doing a pillow fight. No, I'm a tomboy though. I wasn't doing all that crap. Like, nah.
Let's go back into the witchcraft thing, because you did say the first thing you did, but the last thing, was it the protection spell to keep away? Was that the most recent thing you did?
Probably not. That was years ago. I can't really remember what the last thing was. It's been a little bit. We just built a house, and we built it ourselves. So it just took us 3 years. We lived in a camper while we built it. So
did you use like telekinesis to build it? Like, did you use like
no, I wish. Like, just wiggle my nose.
like, did you see WandaVision? I'm wondering if like the last thing you did was hold an entire town hostage and change their entire identities to build yourself a perfect sitcom 50s world.
That would be great. I love watching Andy Griffith and just like thinking of the the good old days. And we live way out in the country. So
Well,
when we come home, it's just silent, you
well,
know.
it's good for you, but it's not good for everyone else. The next thing you know, you're in the multiverse and a castle's falling on top of you.
It was always Amanda.
Okay. It was always Amanda all along. That's right. We could just change a
Forget
few letters
Agatha.
there. I'm down with that. I believe after watching the Agatha all along, I'm happy to forget Agatha. I mean, I don't know why Marvel is trying to chase me away. I mean, I feel like it's personal at this point.
They're out of
It's
ideas.
getting to be too much.
DC will rock the next 10 years only because they have fresh stories. That's all.
I
Yeah.
hope you're right.
I said what I
Yeah.
said.
I'm so worn out with Marvel. They've just stretched it too thin at this point. I can't even keep up and watch everything anymore.
Okay, I'm going to do two things real quick. The Eternals was a personal insult to me. And if anybody wants to know why, if you haven't listened to Garden of Doom and what created the show and seen the Eternals, you'll know exactly why it was a personal insult to me. But one thing on just science, when a giant baby celestial cracks the Earth's core and breaks through the mantle up to the ocean, it doesn't matter whether they're transmuted into some sort of concrete or whatever at that point. They already broke the Earth's core. It's not a bathtub. You can't caulk it. That doesn't work. The other thing is the Superman trailer looked really good, but then they lost me with the dog. I don't need crypto, and I
That was a real commercial. I thought that was just the internet.
Oh, I hope to God that you're right. The excitement from people I heard is that was real. I mean, I think that Zack Snyder, his imagery is beautiful, and I think that he got a lot right and a lot wrong. And I think he's really full of himself. But leaving things like crypto and Robin out, I think were the right call. And I'm a little bit concerned. Am I going to see it? Yeah, I'm probably going to see it.
Thomas, is
Hey,
that
Robin?
your dog on the
Hey,
wall?
Robin?
Yeah,
That is my dog. Jeff, did you say
Yeah.
Robin?
yeah, I'm not a Robin guy. I'm not interested. There was no Robin in the
Yeah,
snack.
there's no need for side. It's Batman year one. There's no sidekick yet. Like you need 10 more of those. But yeah, not my actual dog, my old dog. I did have 2 English bulldogs, but this is again an audio medium, so no one else can see this except for you. So thanks for bringing attention to it. But yes, the photo on my wall is a painting of an English bulldog.
I love it. I love dogs. I have 2 pit bulls, if you haven't heard them barking in the background.
I have it. It's a very colorful bulldog picture, though. It
is.
Yeah, a lot
And
of
it's
almost like
precious.
Jackson Pollock inspired, though neater lines, not
I love
dots.
Home Goods special, $50.
Nice.
Paid endorsement, everyone. Home Goods, the official.
I love Home Good.
Yeah. Actually, you can get some really good finds like in coffee and like body wash and like fancy deodorants like
Yeah.
Home Goods. It's like they have like weirdly odd things that are like strangely wonderfully priced.
They have those things at the checkout. It's like those straws with the chocolate in it that come in the tin can. I don't know what they're called. Wacky name, probably an Italian name.
Pocky.
Sure, those things.
You could find like Armani Geo deodorant antiperspirant for like $4.99. It's like what? Sure, Old Spice is now $2.99. Yeah, I'll pay the extra $2 for the Armani. Sure. I'll go there.
Our entire house is skulls and coffins. So we can only buy home decor around Halloween time, and it's really hard to find nice skulls.
How about crystal skulls?
So, I have a couple of crystal skulls.
Do you have the crystal skull?
No.
Okay.
I wish. That would be awesome.
I'll
have to track down Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Do we have any current events or topics that we need to touch on, or should I dive right into Jimmy Carter seeing Babe Ruth and Hawk Tuah in the same lifetime?
You jump right in.
Jimmy Carter died, people. For those who don't know, breaking news, he lived to see 100. That's the only notes that I have. Just the things that had happened within 100 years that most people can't say they lived through. Now, I don't expect Jimmy Carter to know who the Hawk Tuah girl is, but probably remembered seeing Babe Ruth at one point in his life. But I can't think of, a man watched Babe Ruth and Jackie Robinson in real life, and then also saw Donald Trump become president before his death.
Twice. Yeah. Well, I guess technically not the second time yet.
Which is like the craziest, like that's that lifespan of 100 years.
He missed Woodrow Wilson, or did he? I'm not really 100% sure on that. Woodrow Wilson's world's most secret hidden monster. yeah, that is wild. I mean, you know, you got the World War II, you got Korea, you got Vietnam, you got a whole bunch of things.
Everything has happened in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Almost everything in 100
That's
years.
crazy to think about.
You're actually, I mean, I know you're exaggerating, but it's amazing. Like I listen to these things, like the great courses, and read these books to like look at history like on a real macro thing. And the amount of things that have happened in like what would be the equivalent of like 7 seconds of humanity is so disproportionate in what's been achieved, whether it's innovation, technology, standard of living, whatever it is. Like the average like low income person lives better than a king lived 1,000 years
ever in the history of ever.
Yeah, it's great, which I guess is what progress is supposed to be, but it's still, some of the numbers are staggering. Also, by the folks, if you get a great course, it's called Big History, that's 28 hours long. Don't wait until it expires December 31st to try to rush it in. It doesn't lend itself to listening to 2 times speed. So, but anyway, but I did learn what Malthusian cycles were today. So I'm using that word a lot, that term, Malthusian cycles.
Love that for you. Love that for you.
Yeah. So talk to, what is the status of her legal issues? Do we have?
She's hiding, I think. I think she's just hiding out right now. She went for the cash grab on the fake coins, which, not to say I would have said no to that deal myself, but you got to pay the consequences. What do we expect?
Not to like go into your own crypto coin, like to advertise for it, to be like, on the commercial for Ethereum or whatever, because she didn't know what happened to Matt Damon and Tom Brady. Like maybe, but like her, like the Hawk Tua coin. I mean, what kind of hubris is that?
Hear me out. The Catch Me Outside girl is doing just fine. Like if that girl figured it out, like Hawk Tua doing a Hawk Tua coin, like that's just your own dumbness. But like the Catch Me Outside girl never worked a day in her life since then. But the fucking Hawk Tua girl is going to end up either in jail or with a fine or something. She has to accept some type of responsibility for this. I mean, unless it was just her peasants underneath her and she rats everybody out. But shit rolls downhill usually.
It usually does, and she's the high profile face. I was going to say something dirtier, I guess, but she's the high profile, mouth. I was going to say for the spitting. Never mind. I've already said it. It's not even that funny.
I would be okay if her punishment was just like, as long as no one's going to get their money back, and she probably never really got any of the money. If her punishment should just go away and let us be, and like you just go back to wherever, like Cape Girardeau, Kentucky, where you came from or whatever, no offense, then like the world will be a better place. It'll kind of like reset itself, like a factory reset almost.
It'll hail. Well, it's supposed to be the Great Reset. I mean, Amanda, as a minister of, I mean, I don't know maybe you were ordained by the Church of Tiamat for all I know, but I mean, are you following this Great Reset thing? Because you're not just ordained, you're not just you're sort of in the paranormal world. I know you from the Paranormal or Guys podcast. I know you from Two Broke Witches. So, like, what are your thoughts on the Great Reset?
I haven't followed any of that, to be honest.
Maybe that's too Christian paranormal.
Like I said, I live in the middle of nowhere.
All right, I'm gonna.
I come home and I don't even read the news.
Okay. Well, so how do you build a house? Like log cabin style, like Abe Lincoln?
No, we started by digging the hole. We did the foundation. We did the blocks. We did have a framer, so they framed it and drywalled it.
You guys worked so quick.
Yeah, so they framed it, drywalled it, and we took it from there and did the rest. We did the paint, the doors, the handles. We had an electrician, a plumber, of course, if they had to be licensed. And then, I mean, we have friends we know. We live in a very small town.
So stop showing off that you have friends.
It's a community, is what she's trying to say. There's community love there. Us city folks would know nothing about that.
See, I'm so petty. I just took it as a slight. I didn't realize.
I was picking up what she was trying to throw out
We
there.
live in a very small town. We live in Woodford County where Woodford Reserve is made.
Ooh.
So it's a very small community. I've lived here my entire life.
See, I don't like
So
Woodford Reserve, but I recognize it as a premier bourbon.
yeah. Yeah.
Well,
We
that's
like
great.
going to the cigar bar and
Could you get
yeah.
Woodford Reserve to like sponsor you, or maybe better yet, me?
I doubt it. I have no connections.
Well, make some. Go over and like, give them a suplex or something. I mean, unretire.
Right on the bar.
Cast a friendly spell. I mean, we have to be a little bit diabolical, but like, what kind of spell could you do that is good magic that somehow makes it so the executive from Woodford Reserve finds you in a fortuitous and feels like they owe you? Okay, so next time they have a flat tire, you and your very useful husband, the two of you are crafty builder types, are the first people to come upon them and help him, on the side of the road, and then or her, and then the CEO of Woodford Reserve is like, "Hey, we love you. Let's hang out all the time and be best friends." Can you do that kind
Yeah,
of
that's
spell?
probably.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
you're doing good, but it's for
probably.
selfish reasons. I mean, but it's still doing good.
That's true. I just try to do good anyway. I'm
Okay.
that person who will hold the door for you.
Well, I hold the door for people. I'm not good.
Yeah.
Um,
Good thing to do.
yeah, I do, but it's not like I'm not patting myself on the back for that. It's just, it's part of living in a community, I think, anyway. I mean, I don't want anyone to close the door on me. So I just did the same. I mean, but I mean, I don't think it's bad. I just don't, find myself heroic for it. All right. So on Two Broke Witches, now she's a psychic empath, I believe. So it's Two Broke Witches. Is she also a witch?
She is. Yeah. Shay Smith. She's a psychic medium. I've known her for years. She used to have a booth at Scarefest, and we'll actually have a booth next year at Scarefest. We'll also be in Townsend, Tennessee. I believe it's the weekend of May 3rd for the Sasquatch Festival.
Oh boy.
So, yeah, we have a lot coming up this next year. We're pretty
Okay.
excited. I'll be in Coleman, Alabama this weekend for Greg Ogle's new movie that's premiering on Saturday in Coleman.
Oh, The Land Between the Lakes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just had him on Garden of Doom.
Yeah. So I'll be there. We're going down for that this weekend. I'm really excited to see it and see what he caught on film.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm pretty sure a few years ago I had one of his, bunk mates or expedition mates who was being very coy about where they were going, and I think this is what he was alluding to. I think it might have been Trey Hudson, because I know that they pal around.
Yeah. They also go out to the meadow and they won't tell anybody where the meadow is.
Okay, I was going to ask
Yeah.
you, where's the
So
meadow?
it could be the meadow.
Okay, it could. Well, they didn't make a movie called The Meadow. They made a movie called Land Between the Lakes. So I'm guessing that
Oh,
there's.
Land Between the Lakes is actually here in Kentucky.
I know. He told me all
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, no. Now he's
Yeah.
talking about it because there's a
Yeah.
movie coming out, which is very exciting. What is Scarefest, and what was the Sasquatch thing you talked about?
Scarefest is actually in Lexington, Kentucky. It's every year. I think they've moved it to November now. They've had so many dates for it. It used to be in September, then October. Now I think it's in November. But they have like actors from horror movies. It's all horror related. It's a huge convention.
Horror
Huge
convention.
convention.
So it's like
It's
Comic-Con
a lot of fun.
for horror.
Yeah, it's like Comic-Con but
Hyper
horror.
focused
Yeah.
on horror movies, though. Get it right.
Yeah. I used to volunteer at it every year. I worked the tattoo section because you can actually like get an autograph of someone on you and then have it tattooed on.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's elite psycho shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
And what's the
So,
Sasquatch
like,
thing?
the Sasquatch thing, that is a Sasquatch festival in Townsend, Tennessee, and Paranormal Guys will be down there.
The Sasquatch is Canadian, so are they coming in from Canada? I mean, Bigfoots is what us Americans call it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we definitely have them here.
Okay.
It'll be in Greg's movie this weekend.
Do the Sasquatches roar with a French accent?
Not that I've heard.
Okay. I'm gonna let Thomas ask his questions because I've been prattling off a lot of nonsense and also throwing some, strikes.
Where are we at on the Sasquatch front here? I don't know how many questions I should be asking about this, but I hear it. I don't know how much I want to react, but what's out there? What are we looking for? How tall is this guy?
He's pretty tall.
Actually, my real question is, I'm no disrespect to the cause, but what's the difference between Sasquatch and Bigfoot?
It's the same.
Is this a brand loyalty thing, much like the cards, or?
Nope, it's the
So
same.
Bigfoot's his name and Sasquatch is his race?
I think we just have different names we call it.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
What Thomas really
Bigfoot,
wants to know is, can he take Sasquatch? Because he's a pretty big guy too. And you describe Bigfoot Sasquatch as a pretty big guy.
We should fight.
Yeah.
But there was two of them.
Yeah.
You can get a fucking cage. We can put that shit on pay-per-view.
Damn right.
I think Andre the Giant may be the only person who would have stood a chance with Sasquatch.
Oh, sorry, Thomas. What about your new work colleague, Baba Thunder? He's pretty
Baba
big.
Thunder, big one. He's got a little football, a little center of gravity. He'd figure it out.
Ron Strowman, he's a Kentucky guy. He's a big man too. You think he could handle us? I mean, probably not without one of his rippies, but he might be able to handle a Sasquatch. No. I mean, if they are a primate, they're much stronger than we are. I mean, like a chimpanzee is like 10 times stronger than we are, and mean too.
Yeah,
Right.
miserable animal.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah, hopefully Bigfoot doesn't throw his feces.
Yeah, I mean, okay. This is going to be a crass.
Like a monkey.
This is a crass question, but it's a real question. Most primates in the wild, their asses are ugly things. I don't know if those are hemorrhoids or they're padded or what the hell's it. Does a Sasquatch have one of those like swollen asses, like basically built-in hemorrhoid?
It's in the water.
Ring.
It's a natural bidet.
Ooh,
There you go.
very elegant. The Sasquatch. I mean, bears shit in the woods, but not Sasquatch.
He's got class.
So he does. So he doesn't have that swollen like baboon chimp ass thing.
No, normal butt.
No.
Normal butt.
Well, also Mr. Thomas is an expert on the Sasquatches. All right, and you're confirming that, Syren?
Yeah,
See that?
definitely.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Sasquatch, very hygienic and does not have baboon butt. So
No.
that is a terrific thing.
I'm
Amanda,
hoping Greg and Glenn get up here soon to look around our farm. Our farm is actually called Squatch River Farm.
oh, is that why the band's called Squatch?
Squatch.
So it's after Sasquatch. Is it S''Quatch?
No, just SQUATH.
Are you thinking about changing it now that I said that?
No.
I don't think I've ever named the band before.
Oh yeah.
So I did once throw Michael Stipe out of my fraternity house, but just that was 1987. It wasn't, or 88. It wasn't quite the biggest band in the world just yet. And I didn't know who he was at the time. Anyway, that's a different story for a different day. But it was back when I could throw people around without like hurting every part of myself. Amanda, where can people find and follow you if you want to be found and followed? And do you have anything to sell for us or to us? Any way you can get some of those crystals you've been looking for?
Plug your stuff.
So I don't really have anything to sell or anything, but you can find me. I'm on Facebook, Amanda Simmerman. Instagram is probably the best way. I think Facebook keeps alerting me. I'm almost to 5,000 friends. Instagram is Tatted Farmer Chick. I'm also on TikTok as Tatted Farmer Chick. You can also find our Two Broke Witches page on Facebook. It's the number 2 Broke Witches. TikTok, Instagram, Two Broke Witches Paranormal. And yeah, we're everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
You need to cast a spell to have Glenn bring me back on to do the paranormal attorney bits again, because those were a hell of a lot of fun, and I hear they were well received. And then you can also then get like a good fortune crystal for us all.
Yeah.
Mr. Thomas, Mr. Mocha Traps, where can people find and follow you and support?
Mocha Traps on everything. Just Mocha Traps on the Instagram, Mocha Traps on Twitter, MLW.com. I'm out there.
Yep.
Can't miss me. Low plugs this week. Low energy. Low plugs.
It's fine. I'm a MLW super fan now and NWA super fan. I'm actively lobbying for them both to come to Baltimore. WWE doesn't need my help, and AEW has blown its equity with me. Though any wrestler from AEW is obviously welcome, as is Ring of Honor. And convince me why I'm wrong. It's fine. I've been wrong about lots of things. Ask my ex-wife. So anyway, if you want to follow me, you can follow me at Dose Evil, which is mostly wrestling nonsense, and it's mostly being me nonsensical, or at Icarus Fell MD, which is, I guess, a more benign one. You can follow me on Facebook. You can find the Garden of Doom page. It's not a group, it's a page. And you can follow this show. You can get this show by just subscribing to Garden of Doom on the Wrestling Soup Network or wherever your fine podcasts are found. You'll get Garden of Doom, Garden Views, and GoD presents the Book of Black, which, as you've heard, is sometimes the Gospel of Thomas. Maybe the Syren song. You never know. And I'm trying to get Super Panda on just so that I can call the Panda Express. But I already blew that joke, so maybe I can leave him alone now. Anyway, thanks so much for listening. Hope you got something out of it, and you'll hear from us down the road.
For more episodes of Garden of Doom, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on the Wrestling Soup Network, available on all major podcast platforms. Garden of Doom is a weekly show hosted by Jeff Lippman and Dr. PJ Black. Follow Jeff Lippman on X at Dose Evil and follow Dr. PJ Black at DareWolf333.